I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of Canton on April 27, 2021 at 7:00 p.m. Clerk Seegers, can you please do roll call to order?
Borninski.
Here in my home in Canton Township.
Foster.
I am here in Canton Township.
Pinguli.
Good evening, I'm here and I'm in Canton Township.
Graham Hudak.
Here in Canton Township.
Let the record reflect that Clerk Segrist is in attendance and he is in Canton Township. And then Trustee Snyderman.
I am here in Canton Township.
Great, thank you. So before we adopt the agenda, I would just like to recognize that we have Brad Sharp here. Brad Sharp has retired from the township, and Greg Holmberger is just going to give a little bit of little goodbye to him before we start the meeting.
Yeah, well, thank you all for the opportunity to touch base with Brad. Thanks for joining us from your retirement this evening. I know you're probably bored already looking for stuff to do, so we're happy to have you come in as a volunteer anytime. So a little bit about Brad Sharp. He's our facility service manager, and he was our facility services manager and worked for Canton Township for over 20 years. During his career with the township, Brad has implemented and completed a variety of projects, such as the development and expansion of the Lower Rouge Trail, purchase of Patriot Park and some development out there, as well as Copper Park, which is Canton's newest neighborhood park. He's also helped protect much of Canton's history with the addition of the Katie Boyer Barn and other historical properties to the Preservation Park. One of Brad's greatest accomplishments was his role in building the Village Theater at Cherry Hill from the ground up. He was also instrumental in spearheading Canton's development of energy conservation measures through energy efficiency improvements, such as heating and cooling system upgrades and water conservation systems at Canton splash pads. If it involved a forklift, a crane, or any type of machinery or orange traffic cone, Brad was your person. Brad has shared his time and talents that have contributed so much to the Canton community through the development and maintenance of so many of our parks, trails, and facilities. Canton Township was served well by Brad's tenure. His humble approach and great leadership have earned him the respect and admiration of his peers and all those he served. You certainly have been missed already, Brad, and will continue to be missed. Well, thank you for all that you did for Canton Township.
I'm humbled and thank you very much. It's been a great run. Great people work for Canton Township. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. You'll be missed, and congratulations on your retirement. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yes, that's a good idea. Okay, so next on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Second.
Thank you. Clerk Seegers, can you please take a roll call on the motion?
Borninski.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Pinguli.
Aye.
Graham Hudak.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Snyderman.
Aye.
Thank you. Agenda's been adopted. Can I hear a motion to approve the minutes of April 13th, 2021?
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board approve the minutes for April 13th, 2021 as provided in the final form.
Thank you. Did you hear that? There was a support. Okay, thank you.
Was that Borninski, Trustee Borninski?
I believe it was Ganguly.
Pinguli, all right. Sorry.
Thank you. Can we please have a roll call on the motion?
Borninski.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Ganguly.
Aye.
Graham Hudak.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Snyderman.
Aye.
Thank you. The approval's been of the minutes of April 13th has passed. I'm looking now, we have public comment. So if any one of the attendees want to raise their hand and speak, please do so. If you're on a phone, you can hit *6 and that will let us know you want to speak. Does anyone want to have public comment? I don't see anything. Oh, we do have one. We do. Let me see.
Oh, that is Lauren Cagali, I believe.
Yes,
I should promote her to panelist.
yes. Okay, Lauren, so you were going to be as a panelist for the presentation. Did you still want to speak during public comment? I think she's still muted.
Sorry, I'll unmute myself.
Oh,
I'm
that's
happy to either, whatever you prefer. Would you prefer that I speak? I'm happy to speak in public comment or as part of the presentation.
Yeah, part of the presentation. I think that'd be great.
Great, then demote me, please.
No,
Trustee Segrist.
you could stay there. Thank you. Any other attendees want to speak to anything, non-agenda items? Remember, *6 if you're on a phone. Okay, all right, thank you. We will start with the next item, which is the payment of the bills. Can I have a motion to pay the bills?
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board pay the bills as accrued over the last year or month.
Support.
Thank you, Clerk Seegers. Please take roll call on the motion.
Orninsky,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Benguli,
Aye.
Hudak,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Snyderman.
Aye.
Great, motion passes. The next item is a presentation on Police Transparency and Guidance Subcommittee of the Canton Coalition for Inclusive Communities. Doing the presentation, we have Eva Davis and Police Chief Chad Bow and Lauren Kogali. Did you want to share something?
I can share. I think this will work here. Let me see. Let me make sure we have the right item.
Is it letting you share?
Let me make sure this is the right thing. I apologize for the delay.
Yeah, don't share the wrong thing.
Oh, it's nothing to see here. This should be it.
Yes, it's coming up. Great, thank you.
You see, I think that's the wrong item. I apologize. It's not coming up properly. Try it again. With the dead air. It's great. I'm struggling a little bit here to make this happen.
Is it choosing the wrong screen?
Yeah. Put that down.
If you want, you can email it and I can share it.
I've shared it with the board. I can send it again here. I'll send it again right now. See, Madam Supervisor. Should be coming to you right now. If you can share it, it'd be great.
Okay.
While it's loading up here, I could speak a little bit to the intro here.
Sure, go ahead.
We had a lot of conversation with over the last year or so with not only the supervisor, but Summer Foster, our trustee, Lauren Kagala, and at the end, Eva Davis, to bring something like this into fruition. It's been a question for a long time. How do you increase trust and legitimacy in a police department? And soon after these conversations were budding, we had some issues in our United States, and it just seemed like the time to introduce something like this. It starts off as a civilian oversight and transparency type committee. Then how do you situate it in a police department that's had many accolades for doing the right thing, having great oversight, having international accreditation, but you still can't answer this question. This question was asked of me in August. How do you essentially police the police? How do you know the police are doing the right thing? How do you provide a voice for the citizens to be a part of their service level? So I believe, can everyone see the PowerPoint? I'm not sure.
Yes, we can see it.
Yes.
So, I'll go back on a history lesson. I'm not going to go through every one of Sir Robert Peel's 9 points here. This is not history 101, but we're still trying to answer questions and thoughts and theories from 192 years ago. It comes down to legitimacy. You need public trust to make things occur. And the ability for the police to perform their duties is listed in bullet point 1, is dependent upon public approval. So we're looking for the proper place in our community where citizens can lead an oversight board, a police transparency group. And we thought to bring it through the Canton Coalition for Inclusive Communities, which came to our community many years ago as a hate crimes coalition. And over the last few years, it's developed into the Canton Coalition for Inclusive Communities. And we thought about, how do we have the right person lead this? And we thought about Eva Davis from our library. And the goal, to restate what our goal actually is to look at bringing clarity to the challenging police events. The stuff we see on TV doesn't necessarily happen in Canton, but it diminishes trust and legitimacy of policing in itself. So to have a committee like this, you have a voice on the service level for Canton citizens. They're going to look at, how do we operate and understand the expectations of our citizens will come back to me in a report, which I'll review with this board and our supervisor. It's incumbent upon us to understand, I use this term and I didn't develop it myself, but what Mr. Peel said 192 years ago is, we are the police, the citizens, and the police are the citizens. So breaking it down, you talk about the term progressions of policing. We're really trying to progress back to where we were 192 years ago, trying to make sure we are answering the call from our citizens. So the focus of this transparency and guidance subcommittee, there will be an emphasis on the excessive force, false arrest, the complaints with racial or biased inferences, and we're going to examine these types of police allegations of misconduct. The members of the Transparency Committee, we're looking at how to develop this. It's going to be led outside the police department by Eva through the CCIC. She has picked 5 members, including herself, which she'll talk about here shortly. And one of the key components of this is how to bring these members into an environment where they understand the legal and labor issues associated with policing in the United States. So I'll assign a police legal advisor paid either through our budget or through a grant that we've been approved for, to provide that expertise and help demonstrate how proper policing should occur in this region, in our community, in the 6th Circuit, and through the U.S. Supreme Court case law. The members, they're going to be a diverse group. They're going to be members that have come to our CCIC meetings. And I'll segue real quick here, and Eva can speak to the members that she's chosen in the process that she took to identify the 5 members that are going to be on this subcommittee.
So hello, I'm Eva Davis, and I'm the director of the Canton Public Library, and I am the co-chair of the Canton Coalition for Inclusive Communities alongside Deputy Chief Craig Wilshire. And then also all of the subcommittee members who are listed below, in addition to many others. We had tremendous interest in volunteering for this subcommittee from the coalition, and it was very difficult to choose only 4. I will be serving as chair of the subcommittee as we launch this initiative with these 4 additional members. I want to state at the outset that I do not report to this body officially in my capacity as the library director. The Canton Public Library is an independent township library with our own elected governing board and separate funding. So we are truly an independent subcommittee as well, by virtue of me being the chair of the subcommittee, and then by the members of the subcommittee either living or working full-time in Canton Township. Kanye Gardner is a Canton resident and the Director of Continuous Quality Improvement in the Office of Assessment, Accreditation, and Continuous Quality Improvement at Wayne State University School of Medicine. Dr. Denise Lilly is a Canton resident, and she is the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for the Plymouth Canton Community Schools. Rachel Miller is the Canton Community Response Advocate for First Step. She assists victims and survivors of domestic abuse. She works closely with the Canton Police Department, although she is also assigned domestic violence cases throughout the 35th District Court jurisdiction, which includes Plymouth, Plymouth Township, Northville, Northville Township, and Canton. And then Rohit Singhal is a Canton resident, and he is a small business owner who specializes in technology consulting and support. So we are the 5 members of the subcommittee. Per the partnership agreement that the coalition has entered into with the township, we represent multiple demographics within Canton Township. We have all volunteered to serve a 2-year term on this subcommittee. I will begin as chair. There will be a vice chair that we will elect among us. And then we can each serve up to 3 2-year terms on the subcommittee before rotating off. And that then will give, hopefully, as we launch this initiative, an opportunity for other members of the coalition and other members of the community through the transparency process and the announcements and publicity that will be coming out from the township about this committee to give us visibility and have additional volunteers serve as we move forward. So I want to thank everyone who volunteered. I want to thank the 4 who agreed to serve. I want to thank Chad, our public safety director, for inviting me to co-chair the coalition and then also to chair this subcommittee, and then also Deputy Chief Craig Wilshire, who via consensus agreed with me on these appointments. So thank you all very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Eva, for just, jumping right in. I blindsided her with a phone call one day, and ever since then, it's been high speed for her to make this happen. And it's been an exceptional response. And it has, for this to even become a better group, it has to be independent of the police department. This will not be a rubber stamp, but it has to be one without agenda. And that's what we trust very much with this group that's been appointed by Eva. So I really appreciate your the time you spent on this to ensure that this is not only, as we're trying to bring legitimacy, this group will certainly do the same. So I appreciate it. And along the way, I'm going to go into a few more things here and probably generate some questions, but along the way, the help of the supervisor and trustee Foster and Lauren, and we'll try maybe have a few words by them here shortly, but it's just been incredible. So I appreciate it. I call them examinations when we wrote this, as we went into this agreement with the CCIC to form this committee, but the examinations will be essentially what the group looks at. They're going to look at how we perform within the policies and procedures in processing our own complaints against police officers, and make sure that they're in line with our internal oversight processes with the police department, and also in line with how the subcommittee is supposed to operate. The examination process will make sure that it's conducted in a manner that doesn't conflict with any state, local, or federal law. It's very important. It's also we have to make sure that when they're looking at these cases, that they have the facts and the circumstances around it, so they'll have the full record, so they can make a complete examination. And again, the considerations shall ensure the integrity of the department and maintain through an internal system where fairness and justice are assured through, impartial investigation and review. What's important is the reporting. So over the year, this group will meet. They'll look at many, many different complaints that we receive throughout the year. They'll provide a report, and a lot of the report will be routine, but the main thing I think coming out of this will be guidance back to me. And the guidance that I receive from this group in a report that I'll meet with our supervisor, go over the report, then I'll meet with the board with how I'm going to respond. How I'm going to respond as it relates to current training, future training, discipline, how it's essentially the police chief's report card on the service level and the different progressions of our police department. My response will be very attentive to strategic programming and ensure that we're not only following federal, state, and local law, but it's matching the vision of this township. So that'll happen soon after, which within 30 days, I'll request a time with this board to review the report card from Eva. I heard she grades hard. Anyway, some important notes before maybe I'll ask Summer, Lauren, or the supervisor to speak, but to accomplish this, it couldn't happen without those three and Eva jumping in at the end. I think it'd be important to note, as I put here, that we did apply for a grant. We were approved with contingency of a technical advisor assisting us along the way. I do not know who that could be, but it's a grant through the Hudson Weber Foundation and through their 21 CP Solutions, which is a consultant, someone that probably has a lot of experience in boards like these to help provide some insight for the board and how to operate. So with that, I really appreciate this opportunity to take this next step out onto the ledge a little bit, because you know, it causes a little anxiety and concern when officers who really work for probably one of the best police departments in the state to actually have another level of oversight. But I think it's critical when you go back to the beginning when we're talking about building trust and legitimacy and trying to expand that through our whole group of citizens that live in our township. So I think this is another way to do that. So I appreciate the opportunity and the assistance along the way. I don't know if anyone else would like to speak, but again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Summer, did you want to say anything?
Sure. I mean, I can talk just for a little bit about how we came up with this idea and how we got here. I think it was last August, we began a conversation with the Director and Deputy Director Wilshire and the previous supervisor at the time. And we were talking through a lot of the data on arrests and complaints. And I asked the question, you know, who evaluates those complaints and who is able to say if they have merit or not because I had any distrust of the job that our law enforcement organization was doing, but because we were in this place of turmoil in the country where we had just had the murder of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and we were seeing protests all around the country and even in our own community. And so, you know, I really wanted to put in place a process where we were helping to build bridges between community and law enforcement, because trust was at an all-time low, even between communities and public officials who were elected to serve and to enforce the laws. And so want to build something that helps build that community trust. I don't say this lightly, but I do say it often. I'm so very grateful for the leadership of Director Baugh and Deputy Director Wilshire. I've had many conversations with elected officials in other communities, and they are not able to have these open and honest conversations with their leaders in public safety. So I appreciate them willing to engage with me and Lauren and others in working to come to some kind of conclusion on these issues. You know, I think being on the township board, we're the lucky ones. We get to see exactly what our community is up to, but everyone out there doesn't always know. They're only able to see through the website or through press releases or newspaper articles. And so want to create something where they can feel like that there is an independent committee looking at any type of complaints or of excessive force or false arrest or racial incidents. We had several principles going into this process. Number one was that it should be 100% citizen-led. And because the Coalition for Inclusive Communities was already a trusted board within the community, we felt comfortable creating a subcommittee as a part of that committee. And I'm grateful that Eva has agreed to be our first co-chair. And we wanted to create something real that's not just about checking a box, but something that would have real impact on the community and that would make recommendations to and be heard by the director, the supervisor, and ultimately the township board. So again, thank you to Chad and Eva and Lauren and the supervisor for helping to facilitate this process.
Thanks, Summer. Lauren, would you like to add something?
Sure. Maybe I can just add a little bit about sort of the broader criminal legal perspective. I'm Lauren Kogali. Thanks. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate being invited to speak. You know, it is I truly believe that local government is where innovation lies, and this board and Director Bao keep proving that true again and again. Just, you know, with respect to the broader criminal legal system in the state and nationally and locally, this is really a moment of transformation. The impact at all levels of the criminal legal system, the impact of the pandemic on our communities and the collective voice calling for the end to the racism that underlies all aspects of our criminal legal system has resulted in really important movement. You know, the police hold incredible power in the criminal legal system. I spent 13 years as a public defender. Police officers are often the very first contact a person has with the criminal legal system, and they make decisions that dictate the trajectory of a person's case that is on through the system. And too often their systems are based on laws and policies, you know, that are not attributable to any individual officer, but systemically criminalize poverty and criminalize race. And you know, this subcommittee, from my perspective, is a really important effort to engage the community in defining what public safety looks like for Canton. And what I particularly have appreciated about the proposal and in talking to Director Bao and Trustee Foster and Supervisor Graham Hudak is that it would be easy not to do this. This isn't reactionary. There haven't been any incidents driving the formation of the subcommittee in Canton. Rather, it's being initiated as a partnership between the police and the community and a recognition of the fact that the police are there to serve the public safety and the safety of all community members. And I really appreciate the opportunity to participate in this process. It has been, I don't have enough nice, I can't say enough nice things about Director Bao or about Trustee Foster and Supervisor Graham Hudak. I look forward to seeing this proposal take life and continue to evolve. And thanks for taking the time to hear my comments.
Oh, thank you. And Lauren is the Executive Director of the Michigan Indigent Commission. As she said, she's done work in this arena for a very long time. And so she, by her saying those very, very kind words, that really means a lot. It really does. Before we go to anybody else on the board, I want to take any questions from the audience, but Chad or Eva, did you have anything to say before we take public comment?
Oh, I just like to thank everybody. It's humbling to hear the kind words, and we'll leave with a little insight. Maybe Eva might reach out to Lauren to provide some training for this board also.
Everyone on the subcommittee has made a commitment to attend these trainings on an ongoing basis and to, you know, take seriously the investigatory results and the meetings. I am really glad to be in at the beginning of this initiative and to work with this subcommittee to develop the protocols and the procedures and set the stage for the future members of the subcommittee. I want to make it clear, because I had many questions when Chad called me, that it is not the intention of any of us to have the subcommittees supplant any of the processes or ordinances or protocols or agreements that the township and public safety already have regarding personnel actions for their officers. This is an additional layer of quite frankly, your average everyday citizen bringing a fresh eye and a fresh look to these complaints and making recommendations at a system process level, but then also on a one-to-one level, and that's where the citizen transparency comes into play. that is really what our goal is. And so I just want to make sure that the township board and everyone listening to this understands that it is not, my goal, and it's not the goal of any of the subcommittee members to take on the role of township human resources or to push aside any of the labor agreements or laws that already govern our public safety department. I think that we are all really clear on that, but I want to make sure that I say that out loud. This is something additional that the township and our public safety department have committed to, and that we as the members of the subcommittee have committed to because we recognize that it is important and we believe in it. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Let me just go to the public. Do we have any public questions on this issue or comments? You can raise your hand or hit *6 if you're on the phone. Nope, I don't. Any public comments? Okay. Okay, I see one, Adrian Quinn. Let me do this. Hang on a second. Hi, Adrian. Go ahead and speak.
Hi, thank you. I just want to say I appreciate all of the leadership stepping up to this task. I know it is daunting. I know it is not easy, but thank you so much. It makes me so proud to be a part of Canton Township.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you. Anyone else? Any other hands? Amina? Okay, go ahead, Amina.
Hi, this is Amina. Thank you so much for having me. I just wanted to offer my congratulations to the Township Board and to the Department of Public Safety for once again demonstrating that you can be out up front and do things proactively, and that everything doesn't have to be a reaction, but that you can put things in place so that you build a community where there is deep-seated trust and people work together.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other attendees? Any other comments? No? Thank you. Do we have any board comments or questions? Stephen, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Supervisor, and thank all of you who were involved in getting this done. I think this board has proven again that our vision is that Canton be a desirable place to live, where people know they will be treated fairly and equally. And this action just goes to continue to prove that this board is, and our administrators, our public safety department is willing to go above and beyond to ensure that that happens. So I want to thank you all for the work you did to make this a reality.
Thank you. Anyone else? Tanya?
Thank you, Anne Marie. As a new member of the board, I just became aware of this initiative, and I'm really, really appreciative of Trustee Foster and Director Ball working to make this happen with Lauren and Eva, very responsible members of the community. And I really like that they have put in the work in the last few months to put together this subcommittee. And I am looking forward to the work that they're going to be doing, and looking forward to reading the report. So thank you so much, Summer. Thank you so much, Director Ball, and everyone who is working on this, and to try to make Canton a truly welcoming community, which is one of our board's goals for the upcoming years.
Thank you. Anyone else? Michael?
It will be extremely brief. I just wanted to commend everybody who worked on this and let you all know this is the kind of thing that makes me proud to be associated with Canton Township. I think that in this way we're really leading, and this is especially now when it does feel like people feel pretty like disinvested from policing in general, and having an understanding of how decisions are made and what happens. This is a good step in the right direction. So thank you to everyone.
Thank you. Kate?
Thank you. I have a question before I have comments. Director Ba, I noticed you said that you did not know who would be the technical assistance a consultant yet. And I was just wondering, is that someone that would come from Hudson Weber, or is it someone that we have to look for?
That would come with the grant opportunity, as long as we're comfortable with that. I believe, I'm sure we will, because I got a feeling it's going to be someone that's probably worked on, some of the reforms brought with the Obama administration, and I assume it's from a few of the names they've used, it could be someone that's worked with these types of boards throughout the United States at even very large municipalities. So, but until then, I can't really state, because it's a great question.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I also want to express my appreciation for this committee or subcommittee being formed. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how it works, and hoping that it will work as intended and help keep our community safe and welcoming for everyone. And I appreciate all the hard work that you, Director Baugh, did, Summer, everything you've done. Lauren and Eva, thank you so much. So again, looking forward to seeing this going forward.
Thank you. Anyone else want to say anything or have more questions? Okay, as everybody has said, I'm very proud of this, being very proactive and forming another strong partnership between the police and the community. Like we just approved the social worker. I think that was a strong step, and this is another strong step. So I'm really proud of everybody, and thank you, Lauren, and Eva, and Summer, and Chad. Thank you very much, and to the police force also for helping us to form this strong commitment. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much. So anyone else and any other questions? Okay, all right, thank you. The next item on the agenda is a resolution. A resolution to declare April 2021 as Sikh Awareness and Appreciation Month in Canton Township, and recognizing the Sikh community and celebrating the heritages and cultures of Sikhs and the contributions of the Sikh community to Canton Township. And it will be read by Tanya Ganguly.
Thank you. Resolution to declare April 2021 as Sikh Awareness and Appreciation Month in Canton Township, and recognizing the Sikh community and celebrating the heritages and cultures of Sikhs and the contributions of the Sikh community to Canton Township. Whereas Sikhism is the 5th largest religion in the world today and is a monotheistic faith founded in Punjab region of India approximately 500 years ago. Whereas the Sikh religion is based on a belief in one God, universal equality, and basic values of truth, nonviolence, tolerance, and peace. Whereas most of the world's 25 million Sikhs live in India, but more than 500,000 have made the United States their home. Whereas for over a century, thousands of Sikh Americans have been making valuable contributions to every aspect of American society, in agriculture, information technology, small businesses, the hotel industry, trucking, medicine, technology, public and military service. Whereas Sikh Americans endeavor to enhance understanding and respect among people of different religions, and aspire to see a peaceful and diverse community where everyone is treated equally. Whereas the Sikh American community continues to peacefully overcome attacks on its identity and practices, whether in the form of school harassment, employment discrimination, or fatal shootings. Whereas Canton Township stands with the Sikh community in denouncing hate crimes directed toward any individual, based on their religious beliefs, and whereas our nation, our state, and our township are enriched by the unparalleled diversity of our residents. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Canton celebrates the contributions Sikh Americans have made to society and does hereby declare April 2021 as Sikh Appreciation and Awareness Month in Canton Township. We encourage our residents, employees, and the larger community to join us in this special observance.
Support.
Thank you. Clerk Segris, can we please have a roll call on the resolution motion?
Borninski,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Ganguly,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Snyderman.
Aye.
Great. Resolution passes. Thank you, Tanya. Can I hear a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board adopt the consent calendar as presented. With item C1, consider second reading of the Code of Ordinance amendments to Part 1, Chapter 74, entitled Utilities, Article 2, Division 2, Subdivision 2, entitled Schedule of Rates and Charges, Sections 74 through 83. Item C2, consider second reading and approval of an amendment to Appendix A zoning of the Code of Ordinances to establish standards for outdoor dining accessory to a restaurant. And finally, item C3, consider authorization of youth sports agreements.
Support.
Thank you. Clerk Segris, please take a roll call on the consent calendar motion.
Borninski,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Ganguly,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Slavens. Sorry, Snyder.
Aye.
Of course, I have it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Motion passes for the consent calendar. Next item on the agenda is general calendar. Item G1. Can I have a motion for consider approval of Havens Orthodontics site plan?
Madam Supervisor, I move that the board adopt the following resolution: approval of the final site plan for Havens Orthodontics, whereas project sponsor has requested approval for the Havens Orthodontics site plan on property located at the southeast corner of Joy Road and Canton Center Road, and whereas the Planning Commission reviewed the site plan for Havens Orthodontics and voted 5-0 to recommend approval of the request as it meets the design requirements of the zoning ordinance and is consistent with the plan development agreement for Havens Orthodontics. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Charter Township of Canton, Michigan is hereby approve the site plan for Havens Orthodontics on tax parcel numbers listed as provided in the plan document, subject to all applicable state and local development regulations and subject to the fence and signage being modified to comply with township ordinances if modifications are not approved in subsequent applications by the Zoning Board of Appeals and Township Board respectively.
Here's support. Support. Thank you. The applicant proposes to construct a mixed-use building office and commercial uses at the southeast corner of Joy Road and Canton Center Road, 8770 Canton Center Road and 8758 Canton Center Road. The site currently contains a former UAW assembly and office building, which is proposed to be demolished. The site is approximately 2.2 acres and currently zoned O1 office. The site plan is based on an approved plan development, which was approved by the Township Board of Trustees on November 24th, 2020. The PD approved the uses permitted in the O1 office and C1 village shopping districts, as well as private membership organizations and product sales, repair, and instruction. 2 entrances are proposed to the site, 1 entrance on Joy Road and 1 entrance on Canton Center Road. When a PD is approved, it is required to demonstrate definite benefits to the community. The Havens Orthodontics PD includes the following definite benefits: improvements to traffic by moving the site access points further from the intersection of Joy Road and Canton Center Road, restriping Joy Road east of Canton Center Road to increase left turn stacking, limiting left turn movements to and from the site on Canton Center Road during peak school hours, and construction of amenity seating adjacent to the public sidewalk at the intersection of Joy Road and Canton Center Road, and maintaining over 25% of the site as open space. At its meeting on April 5th, 2021, Planning Commission recommended approval of the site plan subject to conditions. Director Smith, would you like to say anything more?
I don't think so. I think that there were some questions that were taken into consideration in November when it was brought before the board at that point. And I do have some of the visuals from the packet if it's so desired to share my screen.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
May I ask who the second was?
I was, I think.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions. I don't know, is Patrick in also, Jade, today? Is he here?
Yes, he is on the call. Yeah, he is on the call if we want to promote him.
Yeah, because there were a few concerns that we had raised last time. I think planning had raised it too about, if I remember right, the positioning of the driveways and things like that. I wasn't sure if any changes were made based on any of those concerns. Some of the things were mentioned in the planning commission minutes. So.
Yeah, I do see that Patrick has been promoted.
Patrick, can you speak to if any of the changes were made to this since we last saw it in the fall?
Let me just go through the notes here. There have been some areas that have been added in terms of details with landscape details. Now that it's at the point of site plan review, some of those details come onto the plan. So they show 2 monument signs in the illustration. Only 1 monument sign is allowed for each lot. So they'll either have to follow up with an amendment proposal to the PD or keep it at 1 monument sign for the site. Since the original plan development approval, the proposed uses haven't changed. The setbacks, parking hasn't changed. There has been a modification that was approved at the plan development review stage for the foundation landscaping on the east side of the site. There were some issues with fire truck access and the distance to the building. So some of the foundation landscaping on the east side of the building had to be removed, but the required plantings that would otherwise be there have been relocated elsewhere in the site. The architecture and the layout, some of those details have been included now that we're at the point of site plan review. And the architectural renderings show brick and engineered stone. Between those 2 materials, it adds up to 45%. The ordinance requires 50% face brick, and that's 50% of the gross area of the wall. So the entire wall area, including windows, doors, that 50% would have to be brick. So the Planning Commission took the materials and the architectural design into consideration and accepted the architectural materials as proposed of 27% brick, 18% engineered stone, and the remainder is metal, glass, and an engineered wood product. And so the Planning Commission was pleased with those designs. The last major item to note is that the traffic circulation has not changed.
Okay.
That's the same as what was there at the PD plan development stage. So there will be signs installed on the site for limiting left turn movements from the site on Canton Center Road from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. and also from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. To control traffic going out at the site. So I believe those were on the PD plans and something that they have maintained in terms of the outbound traffic.
Okay, so I know traffic and the concern about student traffic during peak hours. There was concern there. Will Joy Road exit be restricted on left turn also, or will left turn be allowed?
The proposed signage is only on the Canton Center Road side. So the one at Joy Road does not have signage at this time going out. One of the items that the applicant was proposing was not necessarily a widening of Joy Road, but to take some of the width that's there and to do some striping because there is sufficient width of the paving surface there to stripe a middle lane farther eastbound so that access into the site and the possibility of access leaving the site will be a little bit more easy with some of that restriping along Joy Road.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Kate?
Yes, thank you. I was just wondering if we know when this, well, they have to apply to the Zoning Board of Appeals, right, for these, for the conditions. And so I was wondering if we know when the Zoning Board of Appeals would be meeting next.
The part where they would have to apply to the Zoning Board of Appeals is for a modification from the fence requirement. The fence around the pond on the south side of the lot is proposed, and part of that fence is in the front yard area. And our fence ordinance doesn't allow fences to be in a front yard area. And because this is a regulation of the fence ordinance, which is a separate ordinance from the zoning ordinance, I don't think it can necessarily be put in as a modification to the PD agreement, because the PD agreement allows a modification from the zoning ordinance, but because the fence ordinance is a separate standalone ordinance, then their remedy would be to apply to the Zoning Board of Appeals for what that ordinance calls a modification. And the reason that they're proposing that portion of the fence in the front yard on the south side of the lot is that the stormwater pond there is a little bit steeper than most other ponds. They want to try to get the volume so it's not as shallow of a pitch. They make a steeper pitch. And to do that, number one, they'll need approval from the county for the stormwater. But if the county does approve that slope, they're proposing a fence around the pond for safety. And so in that sense, they may qualify for a modification with the Zoning Board of Appeals. They would have to present the case there. But to the next available agenda, I think, would be in June for the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Tanya?
Yeah, I saw it on the Planning Commission notes, but I just wanted to confirm the stripping of, the left lane extension on Joy Road, that's still this still needs the approval of Wayne County, right? That's still waiting on, they're still waiting on that?
That's correct. That would require the approval from Wayne County. Wayne County would have to look at the plans for that, and they would have to review and accept their traffic study.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Thanks. Clerk Segers, please call roll call on the motion.
Inskeep.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Ganguly.
Aye.
Graham Shudak.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Snyderman.
Aye.
Great, motion passes. Item G2, can I have a motion to amend planning services fee schedule for temporary outdoor dining permits?
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve revisions to the planning services fee schedule associated with a certificate of compliance for temporary outdoor dining effective May 14, 2021.
Support.
Thank you. The Municipal Services Department has proposed an amendment to the Canton Township zoning ordinance to establish standards for outdoor dining accessory to a restaurant for both seasonal outdoor dining and longer-term outdoor dining. If approved, longer-term outdoor dining applications will be processed as a site plan amendment and subject to the current fees for site plan amendments in the planning services fee schedule. However, because there is currently not a temporary outdoor dining permit classification in the planning services fee schedule, an amendment to the fee schedule is proposed to include a new classification of certificate of compliance temporary outdoor dining permit and an accompanying fee. Director Smith, do you have anything to add?
No, just that the board previously approved the outdoor dining zoning ordinance change. The second reading was tonight. We have had inquiries already from restaurants, so I think this is actually going to be something that's going to be utilized throughout the township. And this is just setting that fee that will associate that request.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments? Great, Clerk Segers, please have a roll call on the motion.
Gorninski.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Ganguly.
Aye.
Graham Hudek.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Snyderman.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Can I have a motion to consider Item G3, consider awarding contract and approve a purchase order for generator automatic transfer system public safety headquarters and associated amendment to the 2021 E911 budget.
Ma'am, double check, make sure. Okay. Madam Supervisor, I move to award the contract and approve a purchase order for the generator automatic transfer system public safety headquarters to Electrics Company Incorporated at 41700 Executive Drive in Harrison Township, Michigan, 48045 in the amount of $73,761 with funds to be paid, the account number listed, capital machinery and equipment, and to approve the attached budget amendment to the 2021 E911 budget.
Support.
Thank you. On February 11, 2021, 8 proposals were returned for the generator automatic transfer system public safety headquarters. A selection committee comprised of leisure services and finance staff interviewed and scored the 8 companies based on set criteria detailed in the request for proposal. After careful evaluation, we are recommending the Electrics Company Incorporated for the generator automatic transfer system public safety headquarters in the amount of $73,761. Director Hohenberger, do you have anything to add?
Just that this is a critical piece of equipment to keep public safety up and running in the event of a power failure. It senses the if we were to lose DTE power, it would automatically switch us over to the generator power and get that started. And then when the power comes back on, it switches us back over to the DTE power on the system. So happy to answer any questions. And
Any questions?
I think the dogs had a few.
Yeah. I think they approved it.
No
No?
questions.
Okay, Clerk Segers, please call a roll call on the motion.
Kaminsky,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Ganguly,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Snyderman.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item G4, can I have a motion to consider approval for an emergency purchase order for the Jace replacement at the Township Administration Building?
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the emergency purchase order for the Jace replacement for the Charter Township Administration Building to BASS or Bass Controls, 6260 18.5 Mile Road in Sterling Heights, Michigan, 48314, in the amount of $20,835 to be paid from the mechanical line item of the account number listed, Community Improvement Fund.
Support.
Thank you. Leisure Services Department is requesting approval of an emergency purchase order to replace the Township Administration Building's Jace platform and transfer the existing building management system BMS N4 supervisor server to a new BASS provided server PC. Bass Controls, who is Leisure Services service contractor for mechanical controls, provided a proposal to replace the system in the amount of $20,835 to be paid from the mechanical line item of account number listed, Community Improvement. Due to the urgency of this matter, a memo was sent to the supervisor and finance director requesting to waive the bidding process for the Jace replacement. Upon their approval, a purchase order was submitted. Director Hohenberger, do you have anything to add?
no, just my apologies for the dogs barking in the background. They're really excited when I talk about automatic transfer switches.
I thought those were someone's dogs. All right, any questions?
Was this, so this was a failure of, it failed and that's why?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, Clerk Segers, please call a roll call on the motion.
Orninsky,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Ganguly,
Aye.
Graham Hudek,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Snyderman.
Aye.
Thanks, motion passes. Item G5, consider a budget amendment and approve a purchase order for the masonry repair at Summit on the Park.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve a purchase order to Carpentry Concepts and Ceiling LLC 18 at 187 86 Susanna, Livonia, Michigan, 48152 for the masonry repair at the Summit on the Park in the amount of $27,540 to be paid from the account number listed, Community Center Maintenance and Repair Building and Additions, and to approve the attached budget amendment.
Support.
Thank you. Canton Leisure Services is requesting a budget amendment and a purchase order for masonry repairs at Summit on the Park. Currently, the 2021 Community Improvement Fund has a budget of $100,000 for roofing repairs at township facilities. To date, there have not been any roofing repairs to the Canton facilities as there normally would in previous years. Due to the importance of the structural integrity and large amount of damaged masonry at the Summit, we feel it would be beneficial to use these funds to repair the masonry at the Summit. If roof repairs necessitate it, we would come back to the board for a budget increase as needed. Leisure Services staff is recommending to reallocate funds from the 2021 Community Improvement Fund and submitted a purchase order to Carpenter Concepts and Ceilings in the amount of $27,540 to cover the remaining masonry repair expenses at the Summit on the Park. Director Holmberger, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, certainly. We've been trying to work on sections of the masonry around the summit, just through the age of the building and wear and tear on the building from weather. So we've been kind of patching that together little by little over the years, and this would complete that cycle to upgrade, to fix some of the masonry issues that we're having. And we felt with the roofing repairs, we haven't experienced any issues to date, so we thought that would be a good source of funding to apply to this repair.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments?
I guess another quick question. So you say that there have not been any roofing repairs, but we did replace roofing at the Summit. Was that last year, or is that?
No, so, yeah, sorry. That's so we budget like unplanned repairs separately from replacements. So we have $100,000 set aside for unplanned repairs.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Okay, Clerk Seegers, please call roll call on the motion.
Borninski.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Ganguly.
Aye.
Graham Hudek.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Snyderman.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item G6, consider approving a Phase 2 contract for architectural and engineering services with Partners in Architecture for renovations to the Public Safety Headquarters building and associated amendments to the 2021 police and fire budgets.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the proposal from Partners in Architecture for architectural and engineering services for renovations to the Public Safety Headquarters building in the amount of $217,750 and to approve the associated amendments to the 2021 police and fire budgets as listed in the packet.
Second.
Thank you. The police and fire departments are requesting approval of a contract with Partners in Architecture for Phase 2 of architectural and engineering services for renovations to the Public Safety Headquarters building. Renovations include a dispatch center expansion, second floor restroom renovations, ancillary renovations of underutilized space, and mechanical control upgrades. Partners in Architectures is proposing an AE fee of $217,750, which includes all necessary architecture, planning, design, development, construction documentation, technology, infrastructure, and engineering, structural, mechanical, and electrical services for this project. With estimated overall construction costs approximating $2.75 million, this represents 7.9% of the overall project cost, which is written within the range of fees included in the initial Phase 1 contract approved by the board in 2018. Partners in Architecture will also prepare bidding documentation, participate in bid reviews, interviews, and perform construction administration. If approved, this project will be funded utilizing a combination of fire fund, police forfeiture fund, and township capital improvement project budgets. A request for amendments to the 2021 police and fire budgets is included to accommodate this expense. Director Bauer or Director Stockline, do you want to add anything?
I think both of us can speak to this pretty well. This has been in the planning for many years, probably the last 5 to 10 years. We've really seen where our dispatch center needed to be upgraded. And when you look at our public safety building, I think this board has seen needs assessments and study sessions about upgrading this building. And I think we're taking a very measured approach. There's a another approach, it would be much more expensive. And I think the best step first is to maximize our current space, starting with that dispatch center, using partners as a lead. They did a wonderful job. I think this would have been before you last year, but we had, quite of an interruption in the world with COVID, but so causing another contract and starting using our 911 funds. This is where we'll actually be able to utilize those funds. We've been earmarking those for a good number of years to accomplish this. So, and we've been incredibly impressed with partners with the fire station. I'll probably pass the baton to Chris here to explain what his experience was with partners and Mr. Malone.
Yeah, I would just echo what Director Ball said. And, like I said, we had a good working relationship. They saw us through the fire station. You guys saw the end result of that. Other than that, they're falling within the fee schedule. And I know that when we sit down and do the actual bids on the construction companies, they're very helpful to have in the room with us and help pick out the best suited contractors for the job. It's a highly technical job with the IT that goes into dispatch, and we know that we have to get it right when we do it because lives depend on it. So with that being said, if you have any questions, we're happy to take them at the end.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments? No. This is going to be a big undertaking, and I don't know if all of you realize, but we're going to have to take the dispatch center and kind of replicate it and then move it and then disconnect everything. So this is going to be very, very particular in what we do. All right, great. Thank you. Clerk Segris, please take a roll call on the motion.
Korninski.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Ganguly.
Aye.
Graham Hudek.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Snyderman.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Item G8, consider approving the purchase of 2 sutfin fire engines and an associated amendment to the 2022 fire budget.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the purchase of 3 Braun Chief Extra Large or XL rescue ambulances from Kodiak Emergency Vehicles in the amount of $789,065. Additionally, I move to approve the below listed amendment to the 2022 fire budget.
Support.
Okay, I'm sorry. Did I read G8? I didn't read G7, did I?
But Michael read G7.
Okay, you read G7. Okay, thank you. To go. All right, thank you. So the fire department is requesting approval to purchase 3 Braun Chief XL rescue ambulances from Kodiak Emergency Vehicles, the authorized distributor of Braun vehicles in Michigan. The department has selected Braun, utilizing a low bid price secured by HGAC, Houston Galveston Area Council, in the amount of $789,065 for all 3 ambulances with power load stretcher setups. Director Stockline, do you have anything to add?
Just the fact that in the background, you'll know that we didn't have all of these budgeted for this year, but because the fact that they're looking at a 12-month build time, we have 2 budgeted next year, 1 budgeted this year. And we're kind of pulling those forward just to get them ordered so that we can get them in next year. We are switching to a smaller chassis compared to the ones that we had before. We had medium duty chassis, so we're going to a little bit smaller F550 chassis, which I think will save us a lot of money compared to the medium duties, which were about $150,000 more per vehicle. And secondly, be a little bit more maneuverable around the township, getting in and out of the subdivisions, because we know we've got those tight trees and all that stuff. So it makes it a little bit easier for those ambulances to get around for us.
All right, great, thank you. Any questions or comments? All right, Clerk Segris, please take roll call on the motion.
Korninski. Foster.
Aye.
Ganguly.
Aye.
Graham Hudek.
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Snyderman.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item G8 now. Consider approving the purchase of 2 sutfin fire engines and associated amendment to the 2022 fire budget.
Madam Supervisor, I move to approve the purchase of 2 sutfin custom heavy duty S8 pumper engines from Apollo Fire Equipment in the amount of $211,119.71. Additionally, I move to approve the attached budget amendment to the 2022 fire budget.
Support.
Thank you. The fire department is requesting approval to purchase 2 sutfin custom heavy-duty S8 pumper engines from Apollo Fire Equipment, the authorized distributor of sutfin apparatus in Michigan. The department has selected sutfin utilizing a low bid price secured by HGAC Houston Galveston Area Council in the amount of $1,211,119.71, which is a prepaid discount for 2 engines, hose, and tools. Director Stockline, do you want to add anything?
Just the same situation. We know that this one's actually even a longer build. So this is a 17 to 19-month build. We had one scheduled for this year, one scheduled for next year. So we are receiving a $35,000 discount for prepayment. So we had some discussion with finance, and they said that was worth it to prepay on these. So we'll give the prepay and get that ordered. And then it actually will come out of next year's. That's why you see the transfer to next year's budget when we actually take delivery on them.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments?
The, yes, the Galveston Consortium, is that some kind of national buying consortium?
That's correct. I believe that we, well, I shouldn't say we believe. I know that we entered into that back under Supervisor LaJoy. So I believe if it's not a fee, it's a free service. But it's based out of Houston there, and everything gets submitted through them, and they take the low bids. So pretty much anybody can get onto it to collect those lowest bids on that consortium.
Great. Okay. Interesting. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Great. Clerk Segrist, please call roll call on the motion.
Borninski,
Aye.
Ganguly,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Graham Hudak,
Aye.
Segrist, aye. Snyderman.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item G9, consideration of first reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 18 of the Canton Code of Ordinances to add a new Division 8 entitled Mobile Food Vending.
Madam Supervisor, I move to introduce for first reading an ordinance amending Chapter 18, Article 3 by adding a new Division 8 entitled Mobile Food Vending.
Support.
Thank you. A proposed ordinance on mobile food vendors is before the board for consideration of holding a first reading. The ordinance would require mobile food vendors to obtain a license to operate in Canton and sets forth regulations such as locations, hours of operation, and so on. Clerk Segrist, did you want to add to this?
I understand there's been some questions. So we were given an interesting task in the fall of last year, having been approached by one restaurant, Slows. They initially wanted to go into the location at Joy in Canton Center that we just decided to approve their site plan tonight. So they wanted to go there for a temporary period of time to sell food that was not appropriately zoned for that. We had initially then wanted to move them into Cherry Hill Village under the hopes that they would like it there, but to bring people down to Cherry Hill Village as well, because that's where a majority of the development has been occurring in the township recently. But commercial sales have struggled there. Slows operated, as this board understands, for a number of months, both as a vendor, as a solicitor, as a mobile vending unit, but also as a tenant. They did so on township property. At the end of that process, we were asked to look at that arrangement, look at the need overall for a mobile food vending unit or a food truck ordinance, and to make a recommendation to the township board. We did that. It was a large endeavor, bringing in individuals from legal, business and marketing, communications, and business development, municipal services, planning obviously was a key in that. We had leisure services with parks as well. My office as the office that tends to give out the regulated business licenses to individuals. And this is the final product we came up with. We also had people from the outside. We had a food vending distributor. We had invited a number of restaurant owners to participate in the process. We were unfortunately unable to get their participation at the end of it. However, we carried the spirit into this recommendation. What kind of comes before the body would be there would be no provision under this ordinance for a mobile food vending unit or a food truck to operate like Slows did last year. So we would not be entering into that kind of an agreement in the future where we would be essentially a landlord and they would be working and they would be selling on our property. Did, however, Leisure Services did create an event that was emailed. The details of that was provided to the board. That went through a more stripped down version of the events that we put on Rally on Ridge, I believe, at the in the summer/fall. We would be doing a couple of those. We do monthly throughout the summer months, which is also a great way to make up for the fact that we're going to be losing out on Liberty Fest this year. So do it in a safe way, but put in some infrastructure for food trucks at Preservation Park. Preservation Park, for those of you who might not be too familiar with that term, although you should, that would be where the barn is. That would be where the community gardens are, where the greenhouse are, where we put in a nice pavilion, believe it or not, with our county parks millage. That's also where the Bartlett Travis house is. It backs up to the dog park, that property there off of Ridge Road in Cherry Hill Village. Director Holmberger is here to talk a little bit about that. If you're wondering about what the fee would be for the food truck ordinance, we would be bringing forward a motion at the second read. Our current solicitor's license is $130. After examining a number of them, I believe we'd come to the determination that $150 would be appropriate. The individual, there was discussion about whether or not we would want to do an annual license or whether or not we would want to have people potentially get a couple of months at a time or pay monthly based on the recommendation from the individual the food truck vendor who sat on the committee. The recommendation was anything above $200 would potentially make it less beneficial for somebody to want to come to Canton Township because of essentially the way we've developed over the years. And then, but anything, and then doing it monthly might not work out as either. So that was kind of the route we took there, would be an annual license. Now to get a location, to go through that process, they would have to go through a special kind of review committee, if you will, that would analyze and evaluate the repercussions and the consequences of what they would want to do. They would have to kind of bring forward a proposal if they wanted to be in a certain area. If you were an individual bringing a food truck to your own home, that is exempt from this ordinance. We are not interested in that if they're not selling food to the general public. If you're on township property and you're going to bring a food truck on, let's say you've rented a pavilion, and instead of having a caterer, you want to have a food truck come, that would also be exempted from our ordinance, provided that they are not selling to any members of the public. So not much changes. You'll still see food trucks coming in for Rally on Ridge, for the new Bites at the Barn, which is what we're crafting and calling the new program, for Liberty Fest going forward. They will still go through the normal process that they will go through with Leisure Services. What you won't see is a vendor in a township park selling. You won't see a food truck in a township park selling to individuals in the parks themselves. I don't know if Jade or Greg want to add anything.
I can just add that the approval process would go through the development review committee, which is very similar to what the outdoor dining applications and special events go through for an approval as well. That touches on all areas of the township, from planning, building, engineering, fire, and public safety, to make sure that the applicant and the location is appropriate.
Greg?
Yeah, any, as far as the event goes, what we're looking at is a mini rally on Ridge, if you will. This summer, we would do it proposing to do it on July 13th, August 3rd, and September 14th, 6 to 8 p.m. It'll be to help control crowds this year, especially with COVID, and just to kind of ease our way into this program. It is going to be a ticketed event that you have to pre-purchase your ticket. Be fenced in, and we'll have a limited number of tickets for those events, so that you would prepay, you show up, and then you can go up to, you'll get your tickets, and then you can go up to your food vendor and pick out whatever food you want for the evening. And we'll have some entertainment, and it'll be out at Preservation Park with the new pavilion and the barn, restrooms. That'll be exciting for people to use the restrooms out there. It'll be a nice evening in the park. We do plan in the future to come to the board for a budget amendment and project proposal to install the necessary electrical infrastructure out at the park, so that trucks wouldn't have to run off of generators out there. Kind of ruins the mood a little bit when you have 6 generators running and a band trying to play over those.
That's true. Any questions or comments? Stephen?
Yes, thank you. And thank you to everyone on this committee that did the work to put together this ordinance. The question that I have is, after, if and after this passes, for where would our residents now see food trucks in our community where perhaps they hadn't before? Or do you envision there being them in places, and where would those places be for any of you?
So one example would be recently, a mini donut food truck was brought in by an HOA. It parked on the street, and they sold donuts. That was a process that was extra legal because we didn't have the ordinance in place. So that was something that they could then do, and there would be a process for that now. That would be one. Another would be a private business. So commercially zoned areas could have food trucks in them. Parking lots. We have the parking lot next to the Partnership for the Arts, for example, would be one where we might want to allow individuals, if we did in the future. The partnership themselves could probably bring a food truck in. I don't know. There's a provision on the Wayne County streets, so they could park essentially on Cherry Hill Road if they wanted to, if they were taking up a parking space and they weren't violating any county laws, and they went through the county process to do that. They could do that if they would like to. However, we did put that they have to be a certain distance from a restaurant. And additionally, an individual who wants to have a food truck in Canton Township would also have to be a specific distance away from a township sponsored event as well. So you couldn't bring in your own food truck and park next to Rally on Ridge and get all of the walk up traffic without paying into the leisure services cost of participating in the event. So we did put some stipulations there. And it's different hours if they wanted to operate in a commercial district than if they were going to be operating in a residential district. Let's say if your HOA brought in a food truck for fun.
So that seems very well thought out. Thank you, Michael. So if it's going to be in a in a subdivision, it would have to get it's almost a partnership between the subdivision themselves and the business, the food truck business. But there is a potential for food trucks to be able to get a permit and then find a place to park in our community that meets all that criteria and start selling food. Does that, am I summarizing that correctly?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, thanks for all the hard work. I know the committee worked on that, and even the outdoor dining, a lot of work going on. All right, do I have, can I please have a roll call on the motion?
Madam Supervisor, I move, wait,
We already moved. Okay, great.
Borninski,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Ganguly,
Aye.
Heck,
You broke up.
Aye.
Yeah.
Oh,
Seagrist, aye, and Snyderman.
Aye.
great, motion passes.
May I ask who seconded that motion?
Okay,
Okay,
I did.
beautiful.
all right, great. The next item is public comment. Do we have any other public comment? You can raise your hand. I don't see any phone lines. So if you want to raise your hand, you can have some public comment at the end here. Okay, no hands raised. Thank you for everybody for coming to our forum today. Any other comments by staff or the board? Jade?
Yeah, just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention in case you didn't notice the orange barrels up and down Canton Center, but road construction season is upon us. So you'll see our 2021 projects are moving along quite nicely on Canton Center, Sheldon, and Haggerty. And we're doing the local match programs, working with the neighborhoods right now. And then as of today, Wayne County actually did announce officially, because it hit the newspapers, that their projects and Trustee Snyderman, it's worth noting that the Denton Salts Ridge light is on there. So it's an official go, and we'll see that light out at that intersection, which I know we've been working with the county for quite a few years to get that addressed. So that was nice to see.
What were the two others, Jade?
Cherry Hill and what was the other one?
Cherry Hill Bridge.
Oh, the Cherry Hill Bridge, which is going to be a 2-year process. It's that Cherry Hill and Ridge that to replace that bridge. So that'll be this fall into next spring.
Okay, and then there was one more, right? Or no?
Yes, Cherry Hill from Lilly to Haggerty.
Okay.
Which is phase 2 of the project they did last year.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other comments, Chris?
So yeah, along with what Jade was saying, we're readjusting some of our response jurisdictions for our stations because of Canton Center. So you may see a little bit of change on that if we're running south to hit Palmer Road and head that way instead of going up to Canton Center or up Canton Center to Cherry Hill. So a little change in our response times, moving some of the other stations around. On top of that, we did tear down the old station next to the new station 2 over there. So making some progress over there, and hopefully that'll be landscaped up soon and completed, so you guys can get out there and see the final thing within the next few weeks. And again, thank you for all your support. I know I've brought a lot of stuff to you guys lately, and so just thank you for your continued support of the fire department.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? So I want to let everybody know, give kind of a COVID update. As you know, we've been open. We've been social distancing in here and inside the offices. We have sneeze guards up. Everyone has a PPE. Employees are working from home as much as possible to stay safe. As you've seen on the news across the country and in the state, that the vaccination sites are slowing down in terms of people attending them. Right now, we are in 3 weeks worth. We just finished week 1 of 3 weeks of second vaccinations. So when we finish our second vaccinations with Kroger Pharmacy, that will take us to May 18th. We've decided that we probably wouldn't do a final week in May of vaccinating first vaccinations because there are so many Wayne County sites open right now, including pharmacies. So, you know, we have the Belleville site, which is not too far, Schoolcraft, Wayne County Community Center down in Taylor. Also, Myers is taking walk-ins, and so is it's Kroger's. CVS, you make appointments still, so we believe that there's enough out there. We've had great response with volunteers. A lot of volunteers have helped, so that's really great. We've given approximately 22,500 vaccinations as of this week. And when we finish in May 18th, we'll do a lot more. So that's really impressive. I just want to let everybody know they are seeing, so Wayne County is seeing the positivity rate going down. 3 weeks ago, it was 19.4% in Wayne County, and now it's 13.9%. So we are seeing that going down. Also, Canton's numbers are going down in terms of where we were. Dearborn is still in the lead at 10% of all Wayne County, and Westland 8%, and Canton is 7%. They are seeing variants come through, the Brazilian and the Japan variants, so those are coming through. They are seeing that. There also is, everybody probably knows, looking at younger people wearing masks now. I believe it's 3 and above. So we will be seeing 2 and above. Okay, 2 and above. So we are seeing that in our community. Restaurant workers also, a grant came out from Congressman Haley Stevens. So we sent that out. That's on our website. So if you know any restaurants that are in need of grants or loans, have them look on our website, point them to the website, and they can look there. So any questions or other comments? Chris, go ahead. I'm sure I'm muted, sorry.
Madam Supervisor, also, just so everyone knows, if there's any homebound citizens that need vaccinations and can't get to the stores or to those appointments, we will come out and give those vaccinations at your house as well.
Yeah, thank you. That's great. Yeah, Will Hayes has done a lot of that. We've whenever we get a call, he makes sure he gets up a pharmacist and goes out there, or an EMT. So we've been able to cover our community a lot, especially even going to the senior towers. Michael?
I would just like to make a comment as we're kind of wrapping up the first round of vaccinations. With the second kind of spike in COVID cases that occurred in November, this organization jumped right into the fray, and a lot of people worked really, really hard to take it very seriously and I think we made a meaningful impact. And so I want to thank you, Madam Supervisor, Director Stockline as well, everybody in the township. I shouldn't even list people's names, because now that I'm like I see Greg, and it's just like everybody worked so hard, and everybody pitched in, and the township staff threw themselves into it as well. And at this point, I just got a text from, I think, IHA letting me know, like, oh, you qualify for the vaccine. And so it's great that, like, at this point, almost everybody, in this area who wants the vaccine has gotten an opportunity to get the vaccine. And you're just doing a really amazing job. And I want to let you know that I appreciate that, not just as a trustee or as the clerk, but as a resident of Canton Township. I'm proud of my local government and how serious we took COVID and worked with the county to address it.
Oh, thank you. That's very true. A lot of people, and the sacrifice of a lot of people, a lot of hours, definitely. Kate?
So I just want to express my gratitude as well. My oldest son was able to get his second vaccine today at the summit. And so I'm very grateful, because he is eager to go out and do some things. And now, in a couple of weeks, he will be able to. So thank you for that opportunity for him. And thank you also to all the volunteers who worked there today and on April 6th when he went for his first shot.
Oh, great. Thank you. And Kanya?
Yeah, I was there for the evening walk-in last week. I was volunteering there, and it was a very, very well run. Even though it was a walk-in, very well run. I really commend everybody for doing their work. The farmers, the Kroger pharmacists, especially, were really, really working, long shifts, and they were very busy, and they didn't even have time to eat, because they were quite busy during the day, and then they were doing an evening shift. And that's when I met our emergency manager, and he was bringing somebody from someone who went to one of the pharmacists went to someone's home to give the vaccines, and yeah, as Director Stockline said, they're doing an amazing job of even going to people's homes. So thank you. Thank you, Anne Marie, for
Oh, no.
leading us through the process and getting partnerships with Kroger and Wayne County for doing this, and really appreciate all the effort.
No, thank you. It all definitely fell into place with everything that was going on.
I
Yes.
definitely think that I'm proud that we led the way in this, and thank you for your leadership in this, you and Director Stockline. Emery, I'm sorry if I missed this, but are you able yet, I know you were looking into it, to determine the percentage of residents in Canton that have gotten vaccinated yet?
No, it's very frustrating. They've been asking even today, they have it at the county level, and we've asked again. We are estimating that approximately 60% of our employees are 55 to 60%. So we're assuming we're probably going to see the same thing in Canton once we get the numbers back.
You would think that they could just do it by zip code.
Right. I know that Will Hayes, our emergency manager, when he asked at his state meeting, they basically said due to HIPAA they can't, which doesn't make sense because we aren't asking for personal information. We just want to see, what are our percentages.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you. I think Wayne County is 45 to 50%. And that doesn't include Detroit. So we're part of that.
And I think you also need to recognize that our overall population is including kids, and a lot of those children can't even receive the vaccination. So that also makes a difference in their numbers.
That's true. And we still have to remember as a community, I'm looking at it really quick. I think even the vaccination is 95 to 100%, reliable in terms of people can still get sick. There are people that will get sick still. So we still have to keep our masks on and socially distance. That's important to remember still. It can give you a false sense of everything's okay, but not yet. We're almost there. We also have some, I don't know if anybody heard it and listened today, but WDET has been doing a special on Canton. So they spoke to some employees and residents. So they're going to be reporting on Canton for the rest of the week from 4 to 6 a.m. or 4 to 6 p.m. You can listen. All right, let me see. Anything else? Just to let everybody know, the employees are learning a lot more about our community also. We're having a lunch and learn for them this week to learn about the sick people and Vasaki, and also about Arab National Heritage Month. So we're having 2 speakers come during lunch via Zoom, and their people can eat their lunch and listen to the presentations and ask questions. So that's a good way to learn about our community a little bit more. Any other questions? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Support.
Thank you. Clerk Seegers, please take a roll call on the motion.
Orninsky,
Aye.
Foster,
Aye.
Anguli,
Aye.
Grim Hudak, Segrist, aye, Snyderman.
Aye.
Great, thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.